types of paper. So a three-dimensional figure or a solid has a length, a width, as well as a depth. So rectangles, for example, and triangles are two-dimensional figures. A three-dimensional figure is going to have that third concept. A polyhedron is a three-dimensional figure whose faces are polygons. So for example, you can see here prisms and pyramids. These would be examples of polyhedrons. They contain only polygons on every face of that figure. So polygons, once again, are going to be enclosed figures that only have straight edges. Okay, so for example, a prism has two parallel identical bases. So when they're talking about that and they say base, base does not always mean the very bottom. It's the shape that is consistent. Like if I were to take and cut this like a loaf of bread, it would be the shape that I would consistently get all the way through that. So there, our base would be our triangle. So notice it's not really the base, what a lot of you would refer to as the base. It's the front and the back on this, the way that it's laid on this paper right now. If I were to take it and tip it up on top of its base, then you would consider it a base. But a base is going to be that figure that goes all the way throughout that entire figure. Okay, if I were to take and cut it, I would get that same shape all the way through. Okay, so your base, here you've got two bases that are exactly the same. The lateral faces are parallelograms. So in other words, they're going to be four-sided figures. So here we actually have three rectangles that make up the lateral faces. So we've got one on that side. We also have another rectangle over here on this side, and then one that makes up the bottom. Okay, so on a triangular prism, you actually have 5 faces. So you've got your two bases, and then because a triangle has 3 sides, there are also 3 rectangles that are making up the lateral surface. So lateral surface is that middle surface between your two bases. A pyramid, on the other hand, is a polyhedron that has one base only. So notice it is only a base, and in this case, the base is a square or a rectangle. So pyramids are named according to their base shape. So here they have identified it as a rectangle, although it kind of looks like a square. This would be called a rectangular pyramid. Now, sometimes you're going to have triangular pyramids where the base is a triangle. So pyramids are named based according to their base figure. So this would be a rectangular pyramid. The lateral faces, or the faces that are coming up to that point, are all going to be triangles. So in this case, we would have 4 triangles because there are 4 sides to this base. There are 4 triangles that are needed to come up as to make that lateral face or the outside edges of that pyramid. Okay, so key thing is your base is always what is going to be used to name your prism and your pyramid. Okay, so here, yes, our base was a triangle, so this would be a triangular prism. Had this been a rectangular shape, then it would be a rectangular prism. Here, our base is a rectangle, so this would be a rectangular prism. Had it been a triangle, it would then be considered a rectangular pyramid. Had it been a triangle, then it would be a triangular pyramid, okay? So we also have some other three-dimensional figures that we will be working with throughout this chapter, and those are cylinders and cones. Okay, these are not considered polyhedrons because they have circles on them. So a cylinder is a solid that has 2 parallel or identical circular bases. So like a can, okay, you've got a circle that makes up the top of the can and a circle that makes up the bottom of the can. This middle section, known as the lateral surface area, is actually, if you were to take the label off of a soup can, that is a rectangle. So it's actually a rectangle, even though it doesn't really look like it. If you were to take the label off, you would see that that label is really a rectangle. Okay, so when we work with cylinders, it actually consists of 2 circles and a rectangle. A cone, on the other hand, is a solid that has only one circular base, and then it has a vertex or a point that it comes up to. And we'll actually be using some formulas later in this chapter to be able to go through and find the surface area as well as volume of a cone, okay?